Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back. I'm Danny Cronson. I'm going to make a video here that will address a person's comment regarding some very beginner rudimentary harmonica tips. And then I'm going to give a little bit of a history lesson on just what the hell I've been doing for the past year, basically, since I started doing this YouTube stuff. And we'll go from there. All right, so the first thing we're going to get into is this comment, and I appreciate you leaving this comment, saying, I would like it if you do something a little more basic, show how to hold the harmonica, how to blow and get a single note, and etc. So I'm just going to give some quick tips on that real quick, and then we'll move on. So the way I held the harmonica is really just kind of the only way I felt like made sense to me, and it's just very simply like this in most cases. There are times where I will be holding it with just this left hand, and I might do something like this to get a small warble effect. But honestly, most of the time I try to get a vibrato warbling effect just with mouth pressure, which I can also kind of touch on in this. But yeah, I mean, just very much, like this kind of thing. And, it sets you up to have your finger ready to activate the slide whenever you need it. And, yeah, I mean, there's not too much to all of that. It's just kind of this kind of grip, and I'm not even really saying my grip is the only way you can do it. I'm sure there's other people that hold it differently. Maybe they hold it more like this, or on the outsides. I don't know. But for me, it was always just like this is just what makes sense to me. So yeah, just holding kind of on the wings of it like this. So another thing that I'd like to touch on that someone actually mentioned in that comment is tongue blocking. And tongue blocking is actually something that I had basically completely forgotten about. And then when they said that, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Tongue blocking was definitely something that I experimented with early on when I started playing harmonicas. And when I started, it was on a diatonic. It was not on a chromatic. And it did help kind of target notes a little better because you're essentially just using your tongue to block off like half of your mouth, so it creates less of a draw in space, and you can then more easily target specific holes. Without having the harmonica on your mouth, for me it was just always basically doing this, where like I would have the tongue pushing in the right side of my lips, covering it, and then I'd play. Right, and so that at times helped me feel like I was being able to target notes better. But quite honestly, as the years went on and I just played more harmonica, I don't do tongue blocking anymore. I kind of just have a much better feel for where the hole is, physically when I'm playing, and so I don't really need it. I feel like as much anymore as I maybe did when I first started. But it might not be something that's bad for a beginner to do. I think maybe it's good even, and it kind of helps you play it a little safer while you are memorizing the physicality of the instrument, and then eventually you might not need it as much. All right, so another kind of beginner thing that we can touch on real quick that they asked about in the comment as well is just getting air into a single hole. And thankfully on a chromatic harmonica, it is a lot easier to do because the holes are just, much, much larger. If you're comparing these to a diatonic, it's a lot bigger. So for me, it's so totally natural now, and I don't think about it much. But as I examined it here, I'm really looking at the video, and I'm like, yeah, it's basically just like a straw sipping face. So I'll play, and then I'll pull off the harmonica, and you'll get to see my lip position. And that's, how I play 99% of things on the chromatic harmonica. I hardly ever do full chord blows in and out. It's mostly just stuff like... And you can see, I'm essentially just making a sipping straw kind of face. And that's, what I'm used to doing at this point, and that reliably gets me a single hole. I almost never, mess up and accidentally hit more than one hole at the time. So, yeah, I mean, it's really just, I think, a matter of practice, but it's a very simple kind of embouchure, as it were, to just make the kind of sipping face, like that. And that's what my face is, on and off. So, yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to it, but I think I kind of take it for granted now. I've been doing the chromatic harmonica so long that I could see someone maybe getting it for the first time and, you know, blowing into it kind of with a wider embouchure, like that kind of thing. And that just, I mean, great things can be done with it, but that is not typically the capacity that you hear chromatic harmonica, and it's almost always single notes being blown or drawn, and you get that with that kind of small closed embouchure. All right, so I mean, we've covered the basics at this point, and you know, if you want to learn how to start doing scales and arpeggios, I have a great video up on that that's really been doing fantastic. I mean, relative to the kind of stuff that I put out on my channel, this video is going gangbusters. So, you know, it kind of made me realize that chromatic harmonica specifically, and even just harmonica in general, is such a niche thing that it's like, you know, if the content exists for it, there's only X amount of people really that are like searching for that kind of thing, and they'll eventually find your video. And you know, I kind of noticed this same niche like ability to grab and get consistent traffic in another arena that I'm actually going to make another video about. But anyways, moving on. The next thing I'd like to touch on is vibrato, which, you know, I don't consider to be a beginner mechanic really. It's definitely something that you'll be working on for the entirety of your life. As you play harmonica and develop, your vibrato will be developing the whole time. But it's definitely something that, you know, I don't see any reason to not start working on it right away, even if it doesn't find its way into your gigs. You know, you might not be comfortable and stuff at first, but it's definitely something to work on. And, you know, as a singer, I've realized that there's actually a lot of similarities between, you know, doing vibrato as a singer and doing vibrato as a harmonica player. It's really about breath control. And one way that I would start to get students learning about vibrato when I was teaching singing in Oak Park was I would have them do this exercise where they would hiss out air, but they would pulse it, essentially, using their diaphragm muscles to do so. And when you do that, it's like this, kind of. Right? You got this kind of pulse happening, and it's creating this flow. Now, I know there's a lot of like classical singing teachers and stuff that would be like, do not do your vibrato that way, and I actually agree with them. You shouldn't sing vibrato in that way. It'll be very forced. It'll sound like a rickety car engine breaking down, is what one of my teachers told me once, and I totally agree with her. But I think if you start to learn that concept, you can eventually meld it into a way where it's not so forceful and it is more natural. And yeah, so I would just, I mean, breath exercises are a great thing to do regardless to have in your back pocket. And they help you with singing and they'll help you with harmonica. And it's kind of the same thing with harmonica, and I'll demonstrate it now. So when I just blow a note on this, like just a C, I'm just doing a steady stream of air there, right? Essentially, I'm just going, you know, just blowing out. If I want it to vibrate, I'll do that kind of pulsing breath, which is like a, and it'll give me the vibrato. So here it is. And what's cool is, you know, you can do it right away on the note. You can wait on the note. I've started leaning towards more now. A lot of times when I do my vibrato, I like to hold a clear note for a while and then hit the vibrato for the, you know, the tail end of it. So I'll give a couple examples. This is like right away. This is giving it some time. And yeah, I mean, there's variations that you could do with that. There's intensity levels that you can reach. I am by no means a master of vibrato on the chromatic harmonica. I'm still working on it all the time. In fact, it's really only something that's emerged recently in my playing. I really wasn't doing it for a long time. And I think it takes time, it takes confidence it takes time to build confidence, that is, to do stuff like this on the gig and feel like you're not, you know, disrupting the environment or looking like a jerk or whatever. But yeah, so in my experience, for my journey on vibrato with harmonica, blowing out is a lot easier to accomplish than drawing in vibrato. They're definitely both doable, but for me, the drawing in vibrato is a little tougher. I'll do one here. So yeah, it's tough for me. I'm really not even great at it. So sometimes I hit it, sometimes I don't. But it's the kind of thing where now, I just go for it, and I don't think people are really splitting hairs anyways to begin with. A lot of times I'm just playing music as a quiet kind of background thing in restaurants. So, but yeah, you can experiment with that in many different ways, and I'd encourage you to do so because vibrato is really just one of the most expressive ways to make music and play music. It's such an expressive tool, and yeah, so I mean that's basically it. I covered like the main things in the person's comment, which again, thank you for that. I appreciate it for you taking the time and actually viewing my stuff. And yeah, a little bonus tip on vibrato, and yeah, I mean I would really like to keep making these chromatic harmonica videos. I feel like they're pretty evergreen. Like I could see these videos getting a lot of views over a long period of time because again, there's just not a ton of people making them. There's not a ton of people that are interested in harmonica either, really, but the people that are interested in harmonica will eventually find your stuff because there's 1,000,000,001 guitar videos being uploaded every day, but there's definitely not 1,000,000,001 harmonica videos, and specifically chromatic harmonicas upload videos, happening all the time. So I'm gonna do my best to keep at it and stay motivated. And yeah, all right, that's it. Thank you for stopping by the channel. Have a good one. Enjoy the practice. Quick side note, I completely forgot. I said I was going to give a history lesson. I decided after editing this video, I'm not going to do that in this video. This can just be a harmonic video. But I am going to put up a video talking about kind of my experience in content creation, some cool things that have happened recently with content creation that I've done that has nothing to do with music, but has really, I think, informed my overall view of content creation. Again, I just hate that word so much, content creation. But that's what it is. Yeah, so I'm gonna put up a video on that, and I'd be really interested to see a couple things from that, like sub responses, if these recent promos I did worked or not, yada yada. So watch out for that if you're interested in just some personal history on me, the things I've been learning and doing regarding YouTube and all that. And all right, that's it. Thank you.